The Canadian Food Inspection Agency describes it as a parasitic fly with flesh-eating larvae that can threaten host animal lives. This is, of course, the screwworm, the New World screwworm that we've been hearing about in the news as it's sort of made a return to parts of the United States. And we've been learning things like the fact that it's, jumped to a dog. What do we need to know about this? It's happening in the States, and Canada is banning the import of any livestock from this area. But with it in the news, I thought maybe we should learn a bit more about this. So Peter Parke, owner of Tsolum Mobile Veterinary Clinic, is joining us on the line from Up Island. Hello, how are you?
Good morning. Thanks for having us here.
Great to get you here. So first off, just to set yourself up a little bit, to talk about your work there in Merville.
Oh, we do large animal work up here in Merville. We look at a lot of dairy herds mostly, and then we do anything from goats to chickens, alpacas, llamas, everything in between. We're happy to help island-wide.
So yeah, you do a lot of livestock stuff. So this is right in your wheelhouse. First off, what do you think about this emergence of this New World screwworm in the United States?
Oh, I think it's definitely something to pay attention to, especially in the warmer climates where this fly can survive. It can cause large economic implications, and I think it's got the attention of a lot of people. It's previously been in the United States, but they eradicated it, and now it's come back. So the USDA is paying a lot of attention to it.
Yeah, and you'd think, we know it's there, we're paying attention to it, we're maybe doing all the things, Canada barring imports of any livestock from those affected areas. Are we doing enough, or should we be at all worried? Or, what level of concern should somebody here on Vancouver Island have about this parasite?
Well, I think in general it's low unless you're importing, dogs or cattle that have come from these endemic areas like Mexico or Texas. It's very unlikely right now that the fly can survive in our climate, but with potential climate change, that could be different in the future. But right now, we're more worried about the implications just from importing cattle. The bigger problem is in areas like Texas and Florida and Mexico, where the fly can survive and overwinter. That's more of a concern. It could cause large economic loss.
Peter, the U.S. has recently criticized Canada for banning Texas beef coming in based on this new pest. Are we right to do so? Is this being prudent?
I think this is being prudent. I mean, I think if the role was reversed, the border would be instantly shut, as we've seen with other things. So I think it's very prudent to not import the product, the cattle into Canada, and be very watchful on other animals as well, like dogs, etc., that are coming in. As they've seen one case in a dog. So, I think it's prudent, and I think Texas, for example, is working on their sterile fly program and expanding it, but it's hard to expand it quick enough, is what the reports indicate.
When it comes to the spectrum of illness and possible death, where does it sit when it comes to, say, I heard that younger animals are more susceptible to having more serious complications, and pets as well. Like, what does that mean for a pet owner if they were to contract something like this?
Oh, so yes, I think in general, younger calves, if you're talking about dairy or beef calves, would be more susceptible when they're younger. Any kind of cuts or scratches or, wounds or branding wounds or castration sites or other injuries, that's what these flies target to lay their larvae, which is different than other fly strikes that affect dead tissue. This can affect living tissue, and so it makes it more difficult to control. As far as the effects of importing, what you'll be looking out for, I think that just be mindful that this is treatable with a larvicide, picking off the larvae, but you just have to be understanding. This is more of a mass production issue in cattle, I think, than one-offs in dogs or other things.
Gotcha. Well, that's really a good perspective to have, because I think, sometimes you hear all this news and you kind of wonder how alarmed should I be, but that's a good bit of perspective there. And maybe, if you don't mind, because we've been kind of dancing around it, but maybe we should just talk about the screwworm itself and, what it is, and maybe do screwworm for dummies. Just, what is this and how does it work?
Well, it's a fly that actually has one egg cycle that looks for injuries or bites or wounds, and lays about 100 or 400 eggs. And these eggs quickly develop into larvae within a few days, and the larvae then burrow in using a screw-like structure. So it's more about the worm is actually the larva they're talking about. The larva screw in and then can cause this damage to in cattle, normal-looking skin, where the appearance would be where the normal-looking skin is getting worse despite treatment, and it's not very typical. So then eventually these larvae fall off, and then the flies reemerge if the climate's warm enough, and the cycles continue. But they only reproduce once. The sterile fly program has sterile males breeding these females, so then that's how the situation is controlled.
And is that how they were able to eradicate it originally in the United States?
Yes.
Okay.
The problem now has been, it's not necessarily a reduction in funding from the USDA, but it's been, the program just has to get ramped up to such a state that they're just not capable of it at this time. So they're just ramping up the sterile fly program because they need to develop these sterile flies in like Mexican facilities. So that's taken some time to respond to this. So it might take some time to eradicate this again through this biological control method.
Well, there you go. Peter Parke is owner of Tsolum Mobile Veterinary Clinic. They're based in Merville, but they serve Vancouver Island and a lot of our agricultural animals here. Just getting a reaction to news that the Canadian Food Inspection Agency has barred the import of livestock from some areas of the United States affected by this New World screwworm. You might be hearing that term. You might be wondering how worried should we be, but there's a perspective for you. And I do appreciate your time today. Thanks so much for weighing in. Anything big we missed there, or anything else people should know?
Well, I just think it's good that people are aware. I think that the way news works nowadays, people are aware of these things much quicker than normal. So just keep paying attention. And if you're traveling down to these areas just with an animal like a dog, just be aware of the potential for this type of thing.
Yeah, if you're going into those areas. Oh, one quick question. It just came in at 7:10:10. Texter just asking, does it only affect cattle? Could it affect wildlife, like, say, elk? Does it move around to different species like that?
That's a great question. Yeah, there is a reservoir in wildlife, so it does move into dogs. So that's part of the issues with containment, is that you can have a wildlife population also where the fly can grow and multiply in that reservoir. So that's a concern as well. So that's why they need this sterile fly program.